Hello, welcome to Mary's Menagerie. Today I'm going to transform 3 Goodwill thrifts and 1 garage sale find. 2 of the projects will become new decor pieces for my home, and the other 2 projects will be storage pieces for paint in my craft room. A common theme for my projects today is a little paint goes a long way. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. Project number 1 is sometimes less color is much better. I found this resin plaque at Goodwill. It cost $1.99. The first thing I have to do is remove the sticker, so I'm going to use my hair dryer to kind of loosen it up so I can peel it off. Then I'm scraping off the residue, and then I'm cleaning it all up with some baby wipes. This item has 5 different colors in it, and it doesn't really go with what my house is like, so I'm going to use this Waverly chalk paint, cashew color, and I'm going to paint everything the same color. This item has a lot of detail to it, so even though I'm painting everything the same color, later I'm going to put some antique wax on it, and it'll bring out all the details. So it may look like I'm covering up all the details right now, but they will pop later. Here is my Waverly antique wax that I'm going to add. I'm going to use my waxing brush to put it all over the top of this item. I'll have to use a smaller brush in a little bit to get into all the little details that I can't reach with the bigger brush. Now I'm using a baby wipe to wipe off the excess wax. The next step, I'm going to use my Mod Podge matte finish. I'm going to add it to everything on the front, and that way it'll have a little bit of a sheen to it instead of it being so flat. After I apply my Mod Podge, I'm going to let it dry and I will be done. Here is the final result. If you remember, this item had 5 different colors in it. I painted it over with 1 color. I added some wax to bring out the detail, and it'll fit into my decor with the rest of my items so much better. My next project, project number 2, is called A Fresh Look. I purchased this wall decor piece from Goodwill. It looked a little dirty to me, and it had some bad spots on it, so I needed to paint it. It cost $3.99. I'm going to remove the price tags again with my hair dryer. Now I'm going to spray with my crud cutter and get the residue off. Here I'm using my chalk paint, Folk Art chalk paint, Cottage White, and I'm going to paint everything the same color. I'm using a pretty small brush because there's so many deep details. I painted the whole thing with it sitting in this direction, and then I ended up having to turn it around and paint it again for all the spots that I missed that I couldn't see from the other angle. Now I'm doing a second coat to make sure that it's all white and you can't see any of the old color underneath. Now I'm painting all the edges. Had to do a couple coats on those. And here I'm touching up anything that I missed for the final time. And here we have the final result. A confession here, I did do an extra step that I didn't put in the video. I added black wax to this to try to bring out the detail more, and it basically turned everything gray, and I completed it, and I just didn't look like the final result, so I ended up doing 2 more coats of white to get it back to this color. So in the end, I put a little bit more work in it than what you saw, but this is what I like the best. Project number 3, I'm going to call a labor of love, and I will explain why in just a little bit. I purchased this shelf at a garage sale for $3. It's a very heavy shelf. It was painted this blue color, and I thought I could use that in my craft room to help store some of my supplies. So that's exactly what I did. The first thing I did was to paint it white, and the paint did not stick to this paint that's on here. I ended up using stripper to take the new paint and the old paint off, which the old paint did not come off, and I had to use my sander, so I sanded it and I got most of the paint off. I then used shellac. I sprayed it with shellac, and then I let it dry, and then I used spray paint. So I did all of this outside, and I did not film any of it. So needless to say, this took a lot of work, even though it doesn't look like it would have taken much work at all. And here we have the final result. After a lot of work and a lot of trial and error, it ended up turning out pretty nice. Here we have project number 4, a major upgrade. Using just a little bit of paint, I completely transformed this item. This is what the shelf looked like at the beginning. It was painted this green color, but I love the details. I love the shiplap on the back. It cost $7.99 at Goodwill, and I love the metal handles on the drawers. The first step was to remove the metal handles so I could paint the drawers. After removing this handles, I used my little sanding block I got from Dollar Tree, sanded everything smooth. I then sprayed everything with Crud Cutter and wiped off all the dirt and the dust. And now I'm using my Waverly Snow White paint to paint inside the drawers and paint all around the drawers. I then started painting the shelf part. Here I painted the top part, and you're going to see a big change in this. Here I am finishing up using my brush, and I didn't really like all the streaks that I was seeing. It was kind of hard to paint because of the space being small, and I use a pretty small brush to complete it. So after I painted it white with a couple coats by hand, I ended up taking it outside and spray painting it. Here is my setup outside. Again, I did not film myself painting it, but this is what it looked like when I was finished. My next step was to use my matte Mod Podge. I started with my drawers, and I ended up Mod Podging the whole shelf, just for protection. After everything was dry, I screwed the little metal handles back onto the drawers. And then finally, the last step was to Mod Podge the actual shelf itself. If you remember, the name of this video was "A Little Paint Goes a Long Way." The last 3 projects, I just used white paint to transform the items, and I think it made a really big difference. Looks a lot better, fits in with my decor, and even though some of them took a little bit more work, I was really happy with the final results. And here we have the final result of my shelf. I could hang it on the wall, but I'm going to set it on this bookcase to store my paints. Thank you for watching Mary's Menagerie. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.